Hello and welcome to the Vet School Speaks. Today is Friday, November 13th. Spooky. And this is episode 233. Hi, I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. I told you last time was a tank top episode, and this episode is a sweater episode. Full disclosure, my window is open so that I can be in the wool. But whenever I have an opportunity to be in the wool, I want to be in the wool. Oh, I'm so sorry. Gus is handing me his ducky Momo. He'll get upset if I don't. And I have candlelight supplementing the kind of poor light we're having today. And they're on my ironing board, and I don't want him to just like knock them over and set my house on fire. So I'll throw the ducky Momo. Today's cuppa is a chai option. Quite delicious. Did you see my cup? Based on cave painting. The moon. You see the moon? I'm afraid to spill on the bags. There's bags in front of me. Right. Because isn't this the time of year? I don't know about you, but this is the time of year where I usually start to feel connection, like ancestral connection, earth connection, just like connection that feels sort of mystical and magical. I'm sure it's like the liminal, like the movement, the transition between spaces. I'm sure it's something about the different angle of light and like our lessening days. Probably the awareness of temperature and the world around me. It's like that time where you still want to be in the nature, like you're still, so you have more connection to it because it's just beautiful and gorgeous to be in. And just like with temperature, there's not bugs eating you. And I think because like it just, I don't know, all those things start to, and holidays are happening, so are coming up. And so there's that like spiritual oomph. And there's also the Christmas aisle at the Target and like having other people around you be excited about cute stuff. That doesn't really do the ancestral connection, but I just want to be like I'm a full person. And sometimes I gotta look at the holiday aisle and be happy that other people are looking at the holiday aisle. And maybe also buy a bottle brush tree. Don't even get me started on hatching plans for a winter village. I've never wanted a winter village, maybe. I don't think I have. This year I'm like, I need a white ceramic winter village. I have no flat spaces in my house that don't already have things on them. And I have a tiny dog who thinks he's a cat, so he jumps on everything. Like, really? There's no, he is a cat. He's part cat. So there's no safe place, especially since we'll get mail during the months of November and December, and he'll lose his mind anytime somebody comes to the door. So I'm not, like, I've even gotten to the point where I'm like, maybe I should put a shelf up for this winter village that I am scheming about. It's the bottle brush trees, it just, and like the possibility of extra candles. I was like, maybe I should just make a paper one. And then I was all, maybe I should just make a plastic canvas one with white wool. That idea is still in my head. Do you have ideas? Then I was like, maybe I should make a white felt one because that might be slightly less time consuming. White plastic canvas one with white wool. I did buy the tiny house ornament. It's not an ornament, but the Hunter Hammerson. Did you see those? I'm such a sucker. Let me just say, I am not a baller. Like, I do not have the financial means to be as insane as I am. But, you know, I don't buy fancy other stuff. I only buy fancy wool and accessories. The pattern is chimney. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Cancel. Okay, so I have an Adobe app on my phone, and it's done this new thing where it wants to like reformat your files so that you don't have to zoom in and stuff, like if they have 2 columns, which most knitting patterns do. But don't trust it, y'all. It doesn't know knitting. It totally messed up one of my patterns. I mean, it's fine, you can revert, but just, if you weren't an experienced knitter, and even if you were and you were just tired that day, because you wouldn't know until something had gone horribly awry. Because again, it takes those 2 columns of text, and I'm not saying that it does it to all of them, but in my case, the one I was doing a Stephen West pattern, and it was like 2 short columns of text on a page, and it blended them together, and it did not do it like sequentially, like it didn't just like copy and paste the one section underneath the other. It just like merged them somehow into something that was not correct. Anyway, it's called Chimney. Hunter, what is your last name? Oh, Lord. It's also like a 35-page pattern, of course. Oh, come on. Where is it? Okay, pantsvillepress.com is the website. Hunter Hammerson is the Instagram handle. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, here we go. Right, come on. And so they have like wood blocks in them. So don't doubt, I totally purchased that. But I also kind of want this to be like an illuminated option. So that's the part of like the thought about the plastic canvas, is that you could have holes in it, and it would be very rigid, and like I wouldn't have to worry every year when I put it away that it was going to get smashed, because by the time I'm putting decorations away, like I'm not a delicate flower about it. So anyway, I made plastic canvas ornaments one year that were houses, and they're so cute. I can't even talk about it. And there's like a million ornament or plastic canvas house patterns on Etsy that are like beyond copyright, so you can get the PDFs for like $2. I've researched more than I would like to admit. What was that? Oh, I was talking about the Target holiday aisle. I was like, what happened with that rant? When I sat down, I was going to be all, we're just talking about crafts because there's a lot of crafts today. Now I'm talking about imaginary crafts of the future. Whatever. We have a whole teapot to get through, people. Don't even get me started on the tea cozies. I need to make myself a tea cozy. So anyway, it's just a lovely time of year. And like for today, I'm only going to talk about what's happening inside my house, because I don't want to talk about things that are outside my house today. Thank you for being with me inside my house. So yeah, today's episode is going to be just a ridiculous amount of like small amounts of work on knitting, and apparently and then I'll do some like fantasy knitting that I'll add in, I'm sure, because there's things I want to knit that I'm not working on now. And then there'll be some shameless self-promotion at the end. Oh, I just left my finished objects up there. I have finished objects. I just like didn't even bring them because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. Okay. So, shameless self-promotion update November 20th. I'm trying for. There are still bags in the shop if you're interested. There are some of the big bags, the one with the pug on it, and also the super sweet Christmassy wintry patchwork. So yeah. So let's just like forge ahead and stuff. So last time we were together, I was knitting on my Twizzler socks. This is Deep Fall by Woolens and Nosh, and it's a self-striping. There you can see the stockinette version of the colors. With a mini for heels and toes. And I don't really like my socks terribly long, so here are my finished socks. Aren't they so cute? Thank you also for being so patient with me last time that I did not do show notes. It feels like a little bit of life is a little snowbally right now, so I did not get to them as I had planned to. And of course I don't have the pattern here, but anyway, it's Twizzler socks. I plan to do show notes this time. And aren't they so cute? This is the Woolens and Nosh. This is her 90% superwash Tarhi, 10% nylon. And I just love the superwash nylon. The superwash Tarhi nylon sock base. It's I just love it. I love knitting it. I love wearing it. Now it's definitely a thicker fingering. It's a heavy fingering. But I don't leave my house, so it's never too much of a problem to make sure that my socks fit in my shoes. People leave their houses. I don't know. It sounds crazy. Also, I can wear them as mitts in an emergency. So anyway, I just love it. This sock pattern was very enjoyable. I'm not a prolific sock knitter by any stretch of the imagination, but I love this amount of interest. You just have some slip stitches. Just keeps you going. You don't have to do too much reading of your pattern, but it's still enough to kind of carry you through. Anyway, I just really, really enjoyed these, and it was very hard not to wear them when I got done with them immediately. So again, Twizzler socks, Woolens and Nosh, great combo. Now my second finished object, I definitely won't. Oh my goodness. I thought I was doing so well. There we go. They are the Broughton, Broughton, the Broughton mitts by Ysolda Teague. I think they are by her. They're by her company. And this was part of her color work kit that she did at the beginning of 2020. So it was 3 accessories. I had a cowl that I've already knit and given away, and then these mitts, and then a hat I'll show you in a minute. And I believe the pattern is written so that you can do them as flip tops or just as traditional. But again, I would not normally pick the red and white. And then with this kind of darker teal. I love red and the darker teal, but just not what I normally would pick. And so that's one of those times that having a kit is great, or having a mystery kit is great, because as soon as I saw them, I loved them. And I thought they were like so super cute and gnomey looking. Right. Aren't they just the cutest? And I usually don't pick these kinds of mitts with the triangle top because they just always seem like they're floppy, and that drives me crazy. But so I did knit mine. I think I actually knit them exactly as the pattern suggested. And at first I thought, oh, I've knit them too short, but I think they are perfect for me. My fingers are literally filling this essentially toe. But I love the way it feels. Like, it feels like they're secure. It doesn't feel like they're flopping around. Also, the pattern is written with a thumb, a completed thumb, but I just prefer my thumb. If I'm going to have an option that where my finger's out, I want my thumb available too. So the exterior is a Rauma DK, and I thought for sure I was going to have like an all Rauma episode. R-A-U-M-A. Probably not saying it right. It's probably Rauma. Sorry, I'm very Midwestern. So the exterior is the DK, and then the interior is a fingering weight. And the exterior is just stranded color work. There's one row where you use the exterior color, or excuse me, the lining color. You just use it doubled. And then you use it doubled for the cast on. There's a braided cast on, which I'm not gonna lie, when I started these last year, I had so much trouble I've done other braided cast ons, but this specific one is slightly different, and I had a heck of a time figuring it out. But for some reason, this time when I worked my second one, I didn't have any trouble getting it. And do you see my button? They're buttons from Knit Spin Farms Cherry Tree. I felt bad that I was hoarding them for so long, but then I got to use them on this. Isn't that like magical and woodland and gnomey of me? Right. So anyway, yeah, so I did not stitch my linings in, so you can see them. Yeah, I really like this combination of a mitt with a lining, because even though I don't love knitting the linings, it makes them so much warmer. Just having that extra layer. And also it means that you don't have to knit the exteriors so tightly, because I really don't love knitting color work in a small radius at a tight gauge. Okay, I hate it. I knit my mom a pair of colorwork gloves several years ago, and they were like an Aran weight yarn, and I think they were knit on like 2s or 3s, and they were kind of miserable to knit. They were lovely, but they were not fun to knit. And so I think because of that, I just in general avoid stranded color work on small radiuses. But it's not that. It's not that I don't like, I mean, it's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. It's the tight gauge stranded color work on a small radius. Circumference, whatever. So yeah, so these were very enjoyable. This is DK, and I worked them on, I think, US 3s, if I'm not mistaken. And that was like a good, it was still firm, but didn't feel like it was painful to work. And just, aren't they just the cutest? And I even love them. I think this is why I think they look know me, is because of the, so yeah. Things that I did differently. I did work a few extra rounds of the ribbing in the liner, just because I went down to 0s, because my gauge is usually really loose. So I did knit a little extra length on that, and I also had knit a couple rows on this part of the mitt. Like on the pattern, I think you just have like a bind off, and instead I worked a few rows of knit 1, purl 1 before I bound off. But I think that's all I did different. Now that I say it out loud, I'm like, am I lying to you? But I think that's all I did different. I can't ever just do what I'm supposed to do. I'm the worst. That's why I never test knit for people. Just really bad at it. Okay, so that's all the finished objects. And then the rest is going to be just a ridiculous amount of pile of knitting bags. It has been 3 weeks since we talked last. So, I mean, this week I haven't gotten a lot of knitting done, but those 2 weeks before that I did pretty good. And I don't remember why, but maybe I was just like having a push because of the seasonal change. So let's get into it. I don't even know where to start. Like, is there anything you've already seen? Okay, we'll just go with what's closest to my hands. Okay, so last time we talked, I mentioned that I was contemplating joining P4 Chen's Selbu sock course. I don't know why I said Selbu. But anyway, she's Knitography Farm. Knitography Virtual Classroom is the hashtag if you want to see what folks are working on. And she's P4 CHEN on Instagram. So she's doing this sock course. And as a part of the course, she has been doing both video tutorials. She's been doing live, like Zoom check-ins with people. She has also thrown in this, I should have listened to it before we talked, but she's thrown in this story of this. So the reason I took the class is like I could totally pick up a knitting pattern for this type of sock and do it. I'm a pretty experienced knitter. I don't feel like I would have trouble figuring out the pattern. So why did I take the class? Well, it was because usually when I take, for one thing, I haven't taken any classes all year because hello. And then the other thing is that usually when I take a class, it's not necessarily the material that the class is about that I get the most reward from. It's the storytelling that's involved, or like the instructor's approach to instruction that I find very interesting, or, you know, there's lots of other things that the class usually brings to me that are typically more rewarding. So that's one of the reasons I still like to take classes, even though I might not necessarily need it for the exact description of the course. And this is a great example. I have been very slack in my studenting, which is a shame because I love to student. I am a lifelong learner, And I love, if I could go to college for free right now, I would so be into that. I just enjoy it so much. But I have been a very bad student and have not done all of my materials. I'm just going to save them, apparently. Work has been a little busy right now in life. So I'm looking forward to delving into them in the next few weeks. But true to form, the class that I have listened to and taken in, we have the material that's outside the tradition, outside the main thrust of the course that has been really rewarding. And that is her descriptions of the rag sock bins that you find in specifically Norwegian households. And that it is tradition that you have these bins of socks for folks because you don't wear your shoes inside. I just don't wear my shoes inside because I'm a hillbilly and I don't wear shoes if I can get away with it. But it makes sense if you're in a very snowy, cold climate. You don't want folks bringing in all that gunk from the outside into your house. So traditionally you come in, you take your shoes off, and the host of the home or the home has a basket of socks for people to put on, or slippers, I'm sure, in some homes. But I just love this concept. And then it's tradition that the small children, like if they're going to visit their grandparents or something like that, that the grandmother would let the child wear their socks home. I'm not giving you the whole amazingly charming story because you should take her class, but that's the main unk of it. And how charming is that? Love it. So she's actually added, like, because of interest by folks, she's actually added in extra material for I'm going to say it very wrong, but for the Sucche. By the way, I also want to learn to speak Norwegian now because it sounds very cozy. Because I don't have anything else going on. But I could probably listen to an audio, right? I could just pick it up. Horrible languages. Anyway, because of that, I have cast on, I've cast on my course materials, but I've also been inspired to cast on a rag sock for my partner. He wears shoes all the time. Like in the summer, I maybe see his feet 3 times. Like, except for like when he, but I mean like downstairs. I may see his feet 3 times. He sleeps in socks. Anyway, how does this happen? I don't know. I needed a questionnaire before I got married, and I just didn't know that, but this is a weird thing. But because of that, he wears the same kind of socks because he likes a specific kind of sock. And because of that, his like little legs are all like tattooed from wearing the same kind of sock, which is in the same place all the time. So I was like, you need some rag socks for bedtime so that your circulation is not getting all impaired by those weird socks that you insist on wearing. So I decided to cast on, and I had this Peace Fleece in my bin of Peace Fleece awesomeness. And can I just discuss, Peace Fleece, I love you ever so much. Like from a distance, this color just kind of looks like a flat blue-gray, but up close, because it's dyed in the wool and spun at Harrisville, it has these beautiful like piney greens and some little blips of like a light gray to almost white. And it just has such a more charming appearance when it's up close. I love Peace Fleece. It's definitely a rustic yarn. It has some veg matter in it. It's got a mohair content, which makes it stronger, which makes it great for socks. So it's definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but I really dig it. So here's my little sock so far. Right? My sock is only 44 stitches, and I'm knitting it on US 5s because my husband has very skinny feet and legs, even though they're very long. And I just am enjoying it. Knitting it on like these junky needles that I'm not even a fan of because I didn't have 5s and double points, and they're too long for socks. They're like at almost an 8-inch versus I prefer a 5 or a 6-inch. Still totally enjoyable. This is an evening plus a little bits of knitting. And I don't mean like intense knitting. I mean like knitting and looking up plastic canvas patterns for winter villages. So knitting on that. And then here is my actual class project. I believe there were a total of 6 patterns that you could choose from for the class. How fun is that? Which is great. I really appreciated that for this kind of pattern because this project is a little bit, you know, it's time intensive. It's not like just something you're going to finish during like a normal day's class. So you want to make sure that you really like it. But here's mine so far. So we're knitting 2 socks at the same time, not on the same needles, but just like so that you can learn the different, like you can learn the Norwegian cast on, you can learn how to do the heel and how to do the arch and all that stuff. So that works with the pacing of the course. But like, here's my sock. Right? How cute is that? And look at my stupid cute stitch marker. LUVKTE on Instagram. She's got a bunch of Christmas ornaments coming up. They're bells, but you could probably hang them on a tree. You could also just hang them anywhere. Just saying. So cute. My yarn is Rauma. You would think I've heard her say the word like 7 times, at least. Okay, more than that, like 15 times. You would think my brain could, no, my brain can't remember it. So this is the first time I've used this yarn. I've used the Finul, the fine wool from Rauma, which I really love, or really enjoy. I shouldn't say love, but I enjoy it. And then, but this is the first time I've used this one. It's still a 2-ply, and it is a 100% wool. It's not superwash, but it's a little bit more tightly plied in the hopes that it makes it a little bit more durable. And I really do like it. This is colorway 4904, and then my light color is 403. I got my yarn from the Woolly Thistle. Is that all of the basic information I need to tell you? I think so. I'm knitting mine on US 1.5s. These are Knitter's Pride Dreams, which I'm enjoying quite a bit lately. I've been traditionally a hardcore Chow Goulet gal. I have the interchangeables. But lately I've been enjoying a little bit of the wooden needle. You know? Whatever it takes. I know there was something else I was planning to tell you. One thing I do like is that, oftentimes in these kinds of colorwork socks, you're only given one circumference and then everything is like stitch count. And then everything else is left up to gauge. Now, she does offer the measurements. Okay, so she offers both a 64 stitch sock and a 72 stitch sock. And then within those ranges, you can play with gauge to get different sizes. So I think there's a total of 6 sizes given gauges. 5 sizes, excuse me. So I really appreciated that. I was glad to see that there wasn't just one stitch count and then, you know, you had to have such a huge range with gauges. So I really appreciated that. I really appreciate her pattern. The graphic is given both with a dark, like it's printed both with a dark background, like that's one chart, and then the same chart is printed with a light background, dark foreground. So your brain doesn't get all tripped up when you're trying to switch around. So if you've done that before, where you're like, you've switched the dominant shade, and then you get confused because the pattern is written opposite. For me, that is a bonus. So the pattern itself is like a beefy gal. She's 14 pages, right. She even gives you charts for the by the way, this is not a paid advertisement. I paid for my course. I paid for my yarn, all that stuff. So this is just me telling you about stuff. Sometimes poorly. So Patricia gives you the pattern. She gives you tips on the site. She gives you information on using it both with double points and magic loop. So yeah, I enjoy her pattern writing style. I enjoyed her course. It's very soothing and lovely. I'm disappointed that I have not made it a point to be a part of the Zoom check-ins, but you know, sometimes life. But it's been highly enjoyable. And I'm so excited I got to knit it on US 1.5. Because my knitting gauge is a little bit tighter when I do color work. Usually my socks I have to knit on zeros. I went to double zeros for a while, and then I was just like, this is insane. So yeah, it's highly enjoyable. Okay, what else? That's my red, my Rookstocker. So charming. Okay, and then what else do we have here? Okay, so the last installment, or I don't remember the order that the Ysolda Colorwork Club came in, but the other pattern I have, the only one I have left to work on, is the Bellfield Hat. Whoops. So I've started that, and it is also in Rauma. I'm telling you that when I was going to get ready to record last week, it was going to be an episode that was entirely Rauma. Like, it was going to be weird. So here are the colors that are pictured, and it's also the colors of mine. We have, this is the Finoul. So this is considered, I think it's considered a heavy fingering as well. That's what I would call it. This is color 4125, which I love. It's a newer color. This is color 449, and this is color 4139. So this is just using this tiniest bit of this, which is good because I'm using this color in another project I'll tell you about in a few minutes. So this is all I have. I just have my, whoa, I just have things slipping off of things. I just have my brim and just a few rows of color work. And this will be a folded brim, which is why you see it here. I have it's like the wrong side of the cast on, so that it'll be a nice clean line when it's folded up. Usually I don't do folded brims. I just prefer like a slouchy hat. And so I can still wear it that way that if I want to, but it'll also be nice if I need a warmer option. They'll have the double. I'm still like, maybe I should have knit the brim just a little bit longer, but whatever. I can always go back and do it. So yeah, there's that gal. I am knitting mine on, I never tell you these things, 2.75 millimeters, which are a US 2. And these are Chow Goos in a 16-inch circular. I do really prefer if I can, on hats, if I'm doing color work, I don't really mind so much to do a regular, just like a texture or something on Magic Loop hat. But for color work, I really do prefer a 16-inch circ as long as I can, because it's just easier flow for me. It's easier to pick up. You don't have to keep picking up your yarn when you flip to your other needle. I just prefer it. I went through a long period where I couldn't use 16-inch circs. They made my hands cramp up a lot. I think it's just because I used to knit a bit more than I do now. Probably because it was not the internet times and I couldn't get distracted with white plastic canvas house shopping. But one good thing is, because I'm not knitting as much in a fell swoop, is that they don't hurt my hands anymore, or not that I notice. Oh, it's the last of the teapot, y'all. Last of the teapot. So another thing that I picked up, I was looking for something else and I came across the project bag, and is the Crofthoose hat, which is by Ella Gordon Designs. And it was part of Shetland Wool Week a few years ago. And I started it, and originally I didn't think originally I pulled it out because I didn't have enough contrast in my colors. So then trying to knit from stash, I pulled together some other colors that I'm not like super crazy about. And so I think that's why it just languished. But I did pick it up, and I'm ready to start crown decreases. Actually, I've knit an extra repeat because apparently I was just going to make it. I think that was the other thing. I was at a time where I was really into very long hats. And so I thought, oh, I need to knit another like 1,000,000 repeats. It's ridiculous. I just picked it up and was like, it's finished enough. Let's decrease for the crown. But, so yeah, isn't it cute? It's lots of Jameson and Smith. The purple is some Harrisville designs I got on clearance at Rhinebeck one year. So yeah. So I picked that back up. I'm starting the crown decreases, and it's always nice when you put something aside and then it's like you find the $20 bill in your coat pocket, right? Like, it's like, oh, like I have an almost finished project, and even though I'm like not super crazy about it, like I will have a finished hat in a minute. So that's exciting. So did I mention that it was a free Shetland Wool Week, but you can purchase it at this time. And it is written charted, and it has multiple colorways given, which I do appreciate for inspiration. And of course, because it was a Shetland Wool Week, there's 1,000,000 of them out there on the Ravelries or whoever. You used to look at pictures of things. Okay. Oh, so then also, this is another short little thing. See, I have 1,000,000 little things. I had to go to my not local yarn store. So like not my yarn store that's like a bike ride away, but my yarn store that's like on the other end of the city, on the other side of the city. Because I needed some more. I needed needles for my Selbu socks. So when I was there, of course, it's just rude not to also purchase yarn. Do you feel like that when I feel like that when I go to a yarn store. I feel like it's rude. So if I go to your yarn store and I don't buy anything, either times are real hard or you literally had nothing I could buy. But I'm so glad that I bought this. I bought this skein of Noro. It was tall like this. Like, let me just discuss. The presentation was really great. It was tall like this, and then it had like a band of ribbon around it with Japanese writing. And this is Noro Ito. This is the Takikawa, I believe, colorway. And I have not bought Noro for approximately 7 million years. I don't know that I've bought it since I've had a podcast. Probably since I've learned to spin. Because that's kind of the, you can't achieve this, but you can't achieve something like this if you don't spin, right? Like that was like crazy. Now the yarn market's very different. But back in the day when we had much more limited options, back in the day, y'all, I've been knitting. I just had a realization the other day that I've been knitting for like 20 years. 24 years almost. I'm almost to my 25th knitting anniversary. So back in the day, Noro was the only thing like Noro. I mean, it was bonkers. It was crazy. Where's my squares? Oh no, did I block all my squares? Oh, I sent away some of my squares. Oh, darn it. I mean, that's good. But I actually have 4 more squares that I'm not showing you because I sent them away. But anyway, it's listed as an Aran weight, I think, which is perfect. I actually like my squares to be a little bit of a chunky worsted weight to Aran weight, like old school worsted weight. Why am I not a billionaire? Because I all of a sudden want to upholster my life in Noro granny squares. It's a single ply. I love it. I am so excited. I'm going to have to ration this giant ball. It's a 200-gram ball. It was a bit of a splurge for granny squares, which I'm usually trying to knit from leftovers. Worth it. I'm really glad that my local yarn store doesn't have any, because I might ride my bike over there. Also, I purchased this at the Village Yarn, which is in Zionsville, but I can't ride my bike to Zionsville. They are so enjoyable. Sometimes you splurge and have no regrets. I have no regrets about that splurge. It's been highly enjoyable. I've had to ration them because I just want to knit. I want to crochet them all the time. Right? I really should have probably taken a picture of the other ones. You'd think I've been doing this for a few years. Okay, so then, we're down to it, kids. It's the last thing, I promise. So then, out of the deep, dark recesses, by the way, if you want more Cantha, they're going to be happening, I think at this point, it'll be the beginning of the year. I was really going to try to get them into December. I might still be able to do them. My original thought was to do them as a sewn to order the first week of December, which I might still, I'm going to still try to do. But if I don't, then it'll be the first week of January. Okay, so I'm knitting on, why do I only have, well, this isn't even the pattern. That's the pattern of the hat. Here we go. I have put away my Azor sweater, which is by Orlane Sucche, Sucche. I'm horrible with languages. And it is a fingering weight pullover in sort of a, she calls it a poetic round yoke sweater. So it's kind of like a sweatshirt feel to it with some ease. Mine will not have that much positive ease because I'm impatient with life. It's like I had every intention of making it like that, and then it's like, it's just big enough, I'll stop. With the increasing. So here's mine. I'm knitting mine in Barrett Wool's Wisconsin Woolen, which I love. The blue colorway is called Sherwood. And I don't know what the other one's called. I know I'm the worst. I do have the yarn tags from like the last project I worked on in here. Because clearly that's useful. Here it is. I'm on it. I got it. I'm cool. The other one is called Rain Shower. So this is the contrast color. And I don't even think I've used a third of a skein maybe. And I'm a 56-inch bust. So these skeins are such a good value in terms of their yardage. There's 450 yards and 100 gram skein. And I just finished the blue. Right? And I've already I've already split for armholes. And again, I'm a big person with big arms. My arms are like 21 inches in circumference. That's right. This gun show got maximum seating. So, yeah, right? That's a good amount of yardage, yo. So I've split for my arms. I don't even have an inch past the arm split. But whatever. You know what it is? Once you have a yoke sweater for a big person with big arms, once you split off those sleeves, I mean, the sweater's done, right? It's fingering weight. It's looking at the whole body and all the arms. Did it stop me from planning my next sweater project? No, it did not. Did it stop me from buying the yarn for my next sweater project? No. No, it did not. So anyway, so that's been pleasant to pick up. I put it away at the end of the season last season just because I got sidetracked on other stuff. And I think I was also having I just didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to figure out if I had the right amount of stitches. Because the problem with being a person who can't follow a pattern, I can follow a pattern, who won't follow a pattern. I'm a person who won't follow a pattern. And by the way, it's not because, I know better. Please. That is not it at all. It's just because I'm ridiculous. And also, it is legitimate that, for a sweater, I do have to modify things. I I don't like the fit of any sweater like straight off the rack. I'm a bespoke sweater kind of person. Because I need to redistribute stitches and stuff like that. So I never actually do what I should do and like plan it out beforehand. Because like it's not that big of a deal to do that, to like actually just do the math. I might have an undergraduate degree in math. So doing basic calculations is not intimidating for me. So there's no excuse for you not to do it, but I just don't. Because like, oh, whatever, this gauge is going to change. I could grow a third boob by then. Who knows what could happen? You don't know. So I just start and then go and then just like, usually right before I start this for the sleeves, I get real anxious like, oh, what have I done? I should have planned something. And then things get put aside, which is what I did on this one. And unlike a hat, it is not like finding a $20 bill in your pocket. It's like finding an overdue bill in your pocket. Like that you should have paid 6 months ago. And maybe they're going to turn off your water tomorrow. Because you got a lot more to go, kids. But it's going to be a great little sweater. So at this point, I haven't decided if I'm going to go cropped. I might go cropped. But I think I go cropped. I will go long sleeve. I haven't decided. It's all up in the air. I have decided that I love Wisconsin Woolen Spun. Love it. It's my favorite. And it is not rustic feeling. Like if you're a person who is drawn to Woolen Spun yarns, you enjoy the lightness of them. You enjoy the warmth of them. You enjoy the fuzziness, the halo of them. What else could you enjoy about them? You could enjoy, oftentimes they're a good value. Not always, but often. If nothing else, just because you get more yardage for your ounces. Listen to Pippi and what she has to say about Woolen Spun yarns. But oftentimes the Woolen Spun yarns are a little bit more rustic. They usually they oftentimes have some veg matter in them. They're not always like merino-y yarns because of the nature of the yarn. It makes it a slightly less durable yarn. Slightly, if you're just going to make a broad generalization. So oftentimes they'll have like a mohair content in them to kind of help strengthen them. And they tend to, because of those factors, they're not always the softest yarns. But Wisconsin Woolen Spun is very soft. But for me, it is not like MCN soft. It's like, it feels like real wool, but it's also soft. It's much like Brooklyn Tweed Shelter Loft soft. Apparently not everybody thinks that's soft. I found that out. To me, it's very soft. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's still another thing. I lied. I told you there was no more things. There's more things. This is the last thing. It's in my bicycle bag from Joanna Spring, who's at Spin Farm. Oh my gosh, are they still having their sale? They were having a super good discount on having your sock tubes cranked. What? Yes, so Knit Spin Farm. They do sock cranking service. So if you're trying to get some gifts together for the holidays, or you just have an obscene amount of sock yarn, who has that? That you would like to have closer to a sock than it currently is. At the time of this recording, I think. Okay, so the sale's only running to the 14th, but even without the sale, it's a great thing to have done. Crank those tubes. Okay, so then the last thing I've cast on is the Merri Molly pattern by Cinthia Vallet. So she just put out a bear pattern, which was super cute. I may have bought it also. But this one she put out a while ago, and I loved it. It's a mole. She's got super cute clothes. I'm about to run out of battery, y'all. She's got super cute clothes. I'm trying to find a picture of her and all of her finery because it's adorbs. Oh my gosh, here it is. I got full so you can't see all the secrets. Are you kidding me? And there's even a tinier mole, FYIs. So, I'm knitting mine with, surprise, Rauma. This is colorway 411 and colorway 516, or 406, excuse me. Also from the Woolly Thistle. This one's been another one that's been hard not to knit all of it. Okay, now her head looks a little bit more elongated because she's not stuffed yet. But are you kidding me? Look at her little tiny miniature eyes. So these are 6mm safety eyes. She's knit seamlessly top down. Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Do you want to see her hand? Okay, so I probably look a little bit different. I had to jostle the camera to plug it in. Right. A mess. Okay. Do you see her hand? How cute is that? So I am really excited about this pattern. I've never knit from this designer, I don't think, before. She has a great little pattern. This, okay, so small circumference, fingering weight wool. It's going to be a little fiddly no matter how beautifully you write your pattern. Because even a tube is a little fiddly at a small circumference. But that said, I really love the way she did the fingers. Really great. The other thing I did different is they're like a 4-stitch finger. And instead of doing them traditionally in the round, I did just do them like I-cord because it worked out just fine for me. But super cute. Excited about it. You only have one yarn. So this is one continuous yarn to knit the hand. Right. Now the good thing about knitting stuffies is that you don't necessarily have to weave in ends. But even so, pro. Love it. So it's hard not to knit all of her, but. So again, that is Merri, M-E-R-R-I, Molly, M-O-L-L-Y. And it is by Cinthia with an I, Vallet. Very enjoyable. Now, do you want to talk about pretend future knitting? No, we shouldn't. This episode's long enough. We'll talk about it next time because I'll probably have cast on. Okay. What I will talk about is I think for a bonus episode this month is I think I am going to do an episode, since I did a spinning episode last month, I thought this month I'd do another spinning episode, but about my spinning bike. So I have started, it's been about 4 months. I've been doing spinning classes and I really like them. In my house, in my basement. So I'm going to be very vulnerable and show you my creepy 100-year-old basement, which is full of very poorly organized canned goods and many spiders and Christmas decorations and camping supplies and my spinning bike. So if you're interested, I think that's what I'm going to do. And even if you're not interested, somebody else might be interested. I don't know. But maybe we're going to do that. So then let's do shameless self-promotion. Okay, now, before I talk about all of these offerings that I have, if you don't want to hang out for shameless self-promotion, no worries. That's all I'm going to talk about now. But I plan to have all of these bags available. I plan. Reality may not happen. I think what I'll do is, even if they're not already, I think I will just make a note of the ones that are not quite ready, because they'll be ready in just like a few days. And I really don't. Anyway, so we'll see. If it's not there, it'll be probably the first Friday of December. So I'm really going to try to make sure it's there. Or maybe I'll do a cleanup. That's what I should do. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. If it's not there, then it'll be in a cleanup update on Black Friday. But it won't be Black Friday-ish. But hopefully I'll get everything done. So, sock size. I have these super cute snowfolks. This is a cotton linen blend. And then I also have in the sock size this interfaced quilters cotton. How cute are these guys? Right? So cute. There's a lot of blue in this episode, in this update. I didn't plan it that way. Because these were actually all supposed to be an update 2 weeks ago, which clearly didn't happen. Okay, so those are both lined with just an unbleached cotton lining. Then, for a large wedge, which is like a shawl size. By the way, the worst at self-promotion. My website is fatsquirrelfibers.com. Usually I put a little link tree in the YouTube attachments. You can find it there. But it is fatsquirrelfibers.com. Okay. Large wedge. I will have a few of these guys in the large wedge size. So those are the interface quilters cotton. Everything else is a cotton linen. Okay, so for my cat folks, how much do I love the yellow sweater? I love it so much. And like, again, what is happening? Sleepy man. So I have these guys. And then I really love this print. It feels very traditional to me for some reason. I think, well, it is traditional. It doesn't just feel very traditional. But with the mistletoe and the oranges and the pine cones. And it is a black background. It's a warm black, but it I don't know if it'll read as black. But isn't that just lovely? The holly and whatnots. And then I have this guy. Again, another lovely seasonal toss. This is a good transitional November bag, right? I think it's just, I love this print. And hi, yellow zipper. Very exciting. And then as a coordinate to that one is this guy. This update has a lot of sweater bags in it. So this is a sweater bag. And it is the only one that's a cotton linen. So it's a little bit lighter weight than the other guys, which are all either interfaced or denim. But it has this really nice natural print. Okay. I love this one. I don't know why, but I really love it. Fantasies about my snowy roofed cabin. And it is not a metallic gold. It is just gold colored. And then notes. Right? Do you see her with her tuba? Did you know that you needed a tuba playing gnome in your life? You didn't. Neither did I. Do need it. Right. How cute is that? So enjoyable. And then we have this nice woodland with the snowy foxes. And that is a denim. These are all sweater size, so they'll hold easily like a 5 skein project. For me, it will hold like a fingering weight sweater. It just depends on how much you like to stuff your bags, but they're a pretty good size bag. They have a 5-inch gusset. They're 17 inches wide, so they're a pretty big gal. Do you want me to put it on my head? That's always usually a good reference. You can put a human head in one. You can put rabbits in them. I've seen definitely cats. Maybe not a Gus. Not a happy Gus anyway. So then we have this. I love this print too, by the way. What is this? I love this color. I love this color with the pinky fuchsia-y colors with the gold. With the aqua-y kind of grayish. What is happening? I love it. I don't know what's happening for sure, but I love it. Okay, just full disclosure, the faces might be kind of a little bit creepy to people. I mean, I don't think so, but I do want to give you a good shot of that just so you're not surprised. I personally like it. I personally love it. And then this is the one that may not make it, but it's another Charlie Harper. And at the Bird Feeder, it's got squirrel in there. We got some woodpeckers. We got some chickadees. We got some wrens. We got some finches. All good stuff. She may not make it. And then Aran size. So that's the biggest. That's when I'm knitting a worsted weight sweater for myself. If I have a giant bag of Rauma that I'm going to cast on for a color work sweater for myself, and so I have lots of different, I'm just saying, maybe that's the thing. If I need to store 200 gram balls of Noro and 9,000 other yarns that I might be making squares with at any second, because you got to be prepared, this is the bag size I use. So there's this sort of Nordic style wooden print with the cute cozy cottage, and this, I mean, look at the squirrel's tail. I did notice there was an ornament on this one. Sorry guys, should have put this in the more Christmassy update bag. There is an ornament on there. Also the gnomes, their tree kind of has ornamenty looking things on it, but I think they're just dots, right? They're just red dots, so it's like Yule-ish. And then you always gotta have a cardinal. I mean, come on, it's winter, y'all. So again, also the Aran weight size. And these are both denims. They're spoonflower prints, so they're nice and sturdy. You can wad them up, throw them around. Not that you would do that with your things, but if you're me, you do. So yeah, that's happening 9 p.m. Eastern time, Friday, November 20th. There might be a cleanup update the Friday after Thanksgiving, also 9 p.m. Eastern time. Or they just may not ship out on Monday before Thanksgiving. It might be like Wednesday. We'll see. I'll make sure that I make a note. I mean, you'll see that it's not going to ship out the next day. Okay, it never ships out the next day, but it won't ship out Monday. Okay, kids. I think that's all. That's all. I just realized I forgot to talk about something at the beginning of the podcast. Okay, I'll finish and then I'll record that part and put it in. I hope that you have moments of feeling grounded and connected to something bigger than yourself this week. I hope that you can find a minute or two to knit some really good, positive thoughts into whatever you're working on. I hope it's for you. I know that we're not all knitting for ourselves this time of year. I certainly am. But I hope you knit some really good, positive energy and silver koi fish thoughts for yourself into something that you're knitting. Even if you have to take a second, pick up a sock for yourself and knit some really good intention into it for your future self, because she'll thank you for it. I think I need to reframe a lot of what I do as a favor to my future self. I think it might be a good way to be present and grateful for things that may not feel like exactly what I want to be doing in the moment, but to reframe them as a caring act for my future self. I think that might be a good thing to do. I will talk to you next time.